if I'm a candidate for district attorney and I run for district attorney saying, if you elect me, people, I'm going to prosecute Joe Blow, a well-known political figure. Is that lawfare?
It is. That's inappropriate.
That undermines the integrity of the criminal justice system, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
That suggests that justice isn't blind, doesn't it?
It sure does.
Now, look, nobody's blameless here. I remember when this nonsense started under President Biden. And I remember thinking, they have unleashed spirits they cannot control. This has got to stop. Now, I'm a United States Senator. I'm also on the Appropriations Committee. I have influence over your budget, don't I?
You do, sir.
Now, let's suppose I tweet out, I'm really mad at Joe Blow, and I think the Justice Department ought to prosecute him. Do I have the right to do that under the First Amendment? I'm not asking you whether it's wise. I'm asking you whether I have a right.
You do. You can tweet as long.
In this tense exchange, Senator John Kennedy wasn't just testing a nominee, he was defending a principle. His rapid-fire questioning exposed a truth too many avoid. When politics seeps into prosecution, justice stops being blind.
Boy, our judicial branch doesn't have an army, does it?
It does not.
Okay. Our judicial branch at the federal and the state level depends on its legitimacy for enforcement. I mean, people have to believe that justice, even though they may disagree with the result, people have to believe in the integrity of the system, do they not?
They do, because as I mentioned with jurors, if they don't and they're selected on a jury, they're not going to follow the judge's instructions to evaluate the cases based on the facts and the law. So it depends on the citizens to help us with the end result. And if that's eroded on the front end, it's eroded on the back end.
All right. If I'm a candidate for district attorney and I run for district attorney saying, if you elect me, people, I'm going to prosecute Joe Blow, a well-known political figure. Is that lawfare?
It is. That's inappropriate.
That undermines the integrity of the criminal justice system, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
That suggests that justice isn't blind, doesn't it?
It sure does.
Now, look, nobody's blameless here. I remember when this nonsense started under President Biden. And I remember thinking, they have unleashed spirits they cannot control. This has got to stop. Now, I'm a United States Senator. I'm also on the Appropriations Committee. I have influence over your budget, don't I?
You do, sir.
Now, let's suppose I tweet out, I'm really mad at Joe Blow, and I think the Justice Department ought to prosecute him. Do I have the right to do that under the First Amendment? I'm not asking you whether it's wise. I'm asking you whether I have a right.
You do. You can tweet as long as it's nonviolent. You can tweet whatever thought you want.
You have the right to ignore me, don't you?
Absolutely.
All right, let me ask you about being a prosecutor. I've never been a prosecutor. As a prosecutor, you have a moral obligation to yourself and to the criminal justice system not to bring a criminal prosecution unless you think the defendant is guilty. Is that accurate?
Yes, in the Justice Manual, you have to have the reasonable probability.
I don't care about the manual. I'm talking about common human decency. Is that correct?
Yes, you have to know you have it.
Is that a principle that you agree with?
100%.
Okay. And you not only have to believe that the defendant is guilty, you have to believe that you can prove it beyond a reasonable doubt, do you not?
You do. You have to have the facts. Without the facts, you have nothing.
Okay. Is that a principle that that you possess?
I do, and that's how I've operated for 18 years.
Okay. And you also have to believe, do you not, that the prosecution is in the public interest? Is that correct?
You do.
Okay. Now, if one of your superiors came to you, well, let me answer the question for you for how I would do it. If one of my superiors came to me and said, look, you gotta prosecute this case, and I looked at it, and either I didn't believe that the defendant was guilty, or I didn't believe I could prove it beyond a reasonable doubt, or I thought it was not in the public interest because it would undermine the integrity of the criminal justice system, I would resign.
You would decline the matter.
Sir?
You would decline the matter for sure.
Right. And if they told me, if my superior said, look, Kennedy, you know, what planet did you just parachute in from? You don't have a choice. I'm your boss. I'm telling you to do it. I would resign. How about you?
I have no problem doing that. I would first just say, we're not doing this case, and here's all the reasons, and the discussion could go from there.
Okay. And if you were told to do it or quit, what would you do?
I'd quit.
Okay. Would you ever advise a client not to follow a federal court order?
No, sir.
I appreciate that. Appreciate you not qualifying it. If it's okay to disagree with a federal judge ruling, isn't it?
I often have.
Yep. It's okay to appeal it.
Absolutely. We have an appellate section. It's one of the best sections in the criminal division.
Within the bounds of legal ethics, it's okay to criticize it, isn't it?
Yes, internally.
But you got to follow it, don't you?
You do, absolutely.
Because that's called the rule of law.
Senator John Kennedy's hearing with Andrew Duva was more than just political spectacle. It was a test of moral clarity. Kennedy's questions sliced through the polished rehearsals of confirmation etiquette, forcing the nominee to face a straightforward question: do you serve the law or the powerful? Kennedy's success resides in his style, which combines the pleasure of plain words with hard logic. When he questioned Duva if promising to prosecute a political opponent was lawfare, Duva's rapid "it is" appeared simple, but Kennedy's follow-ups made that acknowledgement unpleasant. If that's true, as he hinted, how do you justify the broader pattern of prosecutions in today's politics? The exchange highlighted a deeper concern in American justice, that neutrality has become negotiable. Duva's technical responses, "it depends," "I'd decline the matter," revealed a worldview focused on method rather than principle. In contrast, Kennedy talked from a position of conviction. His hypothetical, "if my boss ordered me to prosecute someone I believed was innocent, I'd resign," was not a performance. It served as a reminder that ethical integrity does not depend on the scenario. Duva's problem was not dishonesty, but separation. His meticulous, lawyer-like phrase demonstrated how bureaucracy dulls conscience. Kennedy's emphasis on yes, no replies pierced through the murk. In doing so, he demonstrated how fragile the culture of accountability becomes when law is considered as a profession rather than a calling. Kennedy's line of questioning centered on trust. He reminded Duva that the judiciary has no army. Its authority is solely based on belief, specifically that its rulings are fair, its prosecutors are honest, and its intentions are pure. When faith is lost, rules become nothing more than words on paper. Duva's nomination hearing acted as a silent warning. When authorities avoid moral responsibility in the name of procedure, they encourage cynicism. Kennedy's bluntness, even when politically fraught, was an essential antidote. It pushed a guy versed in legal uncertainty to recognize the one thing the law cannot work without: character. Kennedy's message was clear. Justice without integrity is simply power with better branding. His words lingered long after the cameras stopped shooting, a reminder that the simplest questions can disclose the most difficult truths.